What is up, guys? It's ya boy, Rick. Are you gonna finish that croissant? Kackis here. Guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button to support the channel and let me know what you think my next intro name should be. That comment section is wild. Alright, today, it's the start of actually a very important week for Destiny 2 players because, guys, this is the only week this season that you can get the Adept versions of the old school Nightfall loot. So, the Palindrome, the Shadow Price, and the Swarm are all dropping from the current Nightfall this week. And these weapons have absolutely phenomenal rolls. For the Palindrome, it has the PvE God roll of Overflow +1 for all. I use this thing all the time. And remember, hand cannons are getting a PvE damage buff next season, so this thing is priced to move. Not to mention, it's got some incredible PvP God rolls. I mean, look at those stats. They're absolutely outrageous. Combine that with Rangefinder, and holy crap, you've got a really capable 140. Not to mention the Shadow Price and its God roll of also Overflow +1 for all. I use this thing all the time. In fact, you're going to see some background gameplay of me beating this Nightfall with this Shadow Price. And then, of course, even the Swarm with Surplus Vorpal is pretty darn capable as well. But if 3 incredible Nightfall weapons on offer wasn't enough, it's also Double Nightfall Loot right now. As you can see, look at how many rewards I get for beating this Nightfall. There's only one downside. The Nightfall itself, the Disgraced, is not a walk in the park, or at least most people think it isn't. But I'm going to offer a bunch of loadout suggestions and tips to make this Nightfall as easy as possible. We were doing like 15-minute and on our way to get under 15-minute runs with Double Nightfall Loot. This is definitely a week you guys should grind. So let's talk about these loadouts. First off, there are no void shields throughout this entire strike. It's only solar and arc, and there's a lot more arc, so be prepared for that. Also, in terms of champions, we have unstoppable and barriers, and that's it. And that's great news because unstoppables means that we get to use the unbelievably powerful unstoppable grenade launcher rounds artifact mod, and then we get to go all in on grenade launchers, which are frankly overpowered this season. So you get to run double grenade launchers. You can use grenade launcher finders and scavengers to make sure you almost never run out of ammo. You can use the breach and clear artifact mod to debuff every enemy you hit with grenade launchers, pretty much it seems like. So you do 30% more damage to basically every champion, every boss you're fighting. And when it comes to the best grenade launchers you should be using, number one, of course, is the Anarchy. This is arguably the best PvE exotic in the game. It's arc, it's amazing within this Grandmaster, this Nightfall in general. However, if you don't have it, I actually beat this Grandmaster with a Witherhoard. The Witherhoard is fantastic against the massive amount of adds in this strike. You can basically spawn kill them if you put a good Witherhoard shot right in a doorway. They'll all come out and get clapped instantly. So Witherhoard plus Behringer's Memory is what I used, but you can replace that with a different heavy grenade launcher that is actually going to be very capable if you don't have an Anarchy. In terms of your secondary, if you do have something like the Anarchy, honestly, one person using the Salvenger's Salvo, it was incredible. Like, it was so darn good at both popping every arc shield I saw and also decimating the groups of adds. Like, there are so many times, a bunch of thralls or acolytes are charging at you in this strike, being able to lob a salvo shot, kill one, and then watch the rest of them chain with that chain reaction explosion. Oh my goodness, the salvo was incredible. I would highly recommend one person use a salvo. But the other two people, I would recommend, if you have it, using an empty vessel, specifically a blinding grenades empty vessel. Blinding grenade, grenade launchers, are incredibly good and versatile in that special slot. It makes it so that entire groups of enemies, even powerful mini-boss type enemies, just don't attack you. In fact, you guys want to know something crazy? You can blinding grenade lock the boss. That's right, the actual boss in the end room, if you just keep hitting her with blinding grenades, she's blinded. She doesn't even attack you. That is incredibly powerful. Now, it only lasts for a short amount of time, so you got to be hitting her constantly, but still, that's really, really good. Now, you could use whatever blinding grenade launcher you wanted, but the reason we're using the empty vessel is because it's solar, so it can deal with those wizards' solar shields. And then just use a solid auto rifle or scout rifle to deal with the barrier champions. But now, let's talk about those subclass choices. So what we settled on and what I would highly recommend is that because this strike is generally harder because it is one of the most adds dense strikes in the entire game, like there is just tons of enemies thrown at you, is to run double stasis warlocks. This was absolutely incredible and it made our runs just easy. So you run the stasis warlock and specifically you are using the bleak watcher aspect. This is going to turn your grenade into a stasis turret, and this stasis turret is going to auto attack nearby enemies. It's going to slow them the first time it hits them and freeze them pretty quick afterwards. And then I'm using ice flare bolts, so if I do shatter a frozen enemy, it's going to chain to the next guy, and then potentially even chain to the next guy. If I shatter that guy, it can really get out of hand. And here are the fragments I'm using as well, just things to really bolster up that plan. Then for my exotics, I'm using the Eye of Another World. This is going to provide just a passive ability regen. So it's going to give me more grenade, more melees, and more rifts, which is exactly what I want. And that's really it. I actually have another teammate running the exact same thing. Bleak Watcher, Stasis Warlock with Eye of Another World. Then our last guy is going to be an Invis Hunter, basically just to use the Aeon Swift, and specifically with the mod that gets your teammates heavy ammo. So we always had Anarchy up just to clap everything we needed. And of course, you can run this on whatever you want, but it's definitely easiest because you have to go get a finisher on a champion. It's easiest if you are on an Invis Hunter because you can just make yourself Invis, go up and get that finisher with a lot less danger. But moving on from loadouts, I do have a couple of tips for this strike. There isn't too many because it's mostly just slaying out on ads as best you can. But remember, for this part here, once you've made your way through the complex, you can completely skip ahead. Like as soon as you see this load zone, you can hop on your Sparrow and move ahead and then either, kill or run past these thralls, or if you do have that hunter, they can make you invisible and you can just run past in complete safety. Now moving on from there to the boss fight. As I mentioned, blinding grenades are incredible for keeping the boss in check, but essentially what's going to happen in this room is that a bunch of ads are going to either spawn up top, as you can see, or eventually down below. And so the later waves of thralls and stuff will spawn from below. So if guys are spawning up top, as you can see, if you go back here, you have a lot of cover, and really the only thing that spawns near you is like one boomer knight. So as long as you're aware of that guy, you can stay back from here and shoot all of the enemies spawning up top, and they really have a hard time hitting you, and they don't travel down to where you are. And then when the boss is kind of moving up a bit and the enemies start spawning down in the bottom, the thralls, you just switch positions. You're now up top, as you can see, and shooting down into those thralls. And then, like I said, all the enemies are spawning down there. They're not spawning up on you. So it's just kind of being where the enemies are not. But make no mistake, this room is chaotic, and holy crap, did stasis and blinding grenades help at keeping everything in check. It doesn't matter if there's 20 thralls charging towards you, if they're all getting frozen, if they're all getting chained with a salvo, or if they're all just blinded, they can't do anything against you. So really, it's those crowd control strategies that I've recommended that really make this room a walk in the park. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, found it informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKackis. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.